In such a mess. Okay, wait, I have a way I can balance this. Yeah. All right. All right, let's start. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Tina from tinahills.com. So please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. And here I am back discussing with you all about Ganesha. Okay, and now I'm going to tell you a bit about Ganesha as Brahmanaspati. Give you a bit of context, and I discussed all the different kinds of Ganesha in the last two videos, so please check that out. All right. I told you that the first ever mention of Ganesha occurs in two hymns in Rig Veda, right? And it is actually, the former hymn is till date employed in the worship of Ganesha. I'm good. In the worship of Ganesha. It's a very powerful hymn. And the seer, okay, every mantra has a seer, and the mantra is Grit Samada, okay, the seer of this mantra, not the mantra. That the mantra I told you is Gananam Tva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kavim Kavina Upama Shavasamam Jeshtarajam Brahmana Brahmanaspatayana Shunrunuti Visid Sadhanam Mahaganapataye Namaha. Okay, so I told you that this one is very important, and Grit Samada, he belonged to the lineage of Bhrigu. And now once we notice that Grit Samadha and Shaunakya, Bhrigu, Dadyancha, and Grit Samadha, they were all closely associated to Angiras in the composition of the Atharva Veda. So Ganpati is the most ancient Rig Vedic deity known as Brahmanaspati. Brahmanaspati. Alright, and the Bhrigu's lineage has actually worked very hard in composing the Atharva. That's why this Chulika Upanishad describes Atharva as Bhrigu Vistara. Okay, and there are many kinds of rites that are mentioned in this particular text, and some of them are benevolent in nature, Shanti Karma, okay, Shanti Karma, and some of them are malefic, Ghora Karma, right? And both of these, Shanti Karma and Ghora Karma, are the subject matter of Atharva Veda, the fourth Veda. Rig, Sama, Yajur, Atharva. Rig, Sama, Yajur, Atharva Veda. So Rig being the oldest, and as I said, Ganpati is none other than Rig Vedic Brahmanaspati. Now, he has, of course, a lot of Ganpati's archetype has also been channeled from Agni Devata, as well as from Brihaspati or Jupiter. That's why we know that Ganpati Puja actually pacifies Navagraha. Alright, now we've got, what does this mean? Gananam Tva Ganapati Gum Havamahe. What does that mean? We invoke thee, O Ganpati, of the Ganas troops. Brahmanaspati, of the Brahmas, the most creative among the creative artists, abounding in treasure beyond measure, the most brilliant amongst the superior beings. Listen to our prayers. Come with your blessings and assurance into our abode and be seated. Alright, so there is also another hymn in praise of Brahmanaspati in Aitreya Brahmana. Alright, now we see that Brahmanaspati, drawing from his all the information that we have in Atharva Veda, Aitreya Upanishad, right? Aitreya Brahmana, whatever we've got from there, we can see that Brahmanaspati used to be a protector of food, sustenance, right? And it was also his power to help the plants grow, to not only help that seed to become a sapling, but to protect it in order so that the sapling can now grow into a tree. So the association of Brahmanaspati with abundance, with bounty, Ganpati being also he holds the same archetypes. He is the protector of the crops, food, sustenance in all forms, okay, everything that grows. And so he's also basically, he helps the rain bearing clouds and the sun rays to help with photosynthesis. So this is a big task that he has. Brahmanam mantranam swaminam, okay, and he's the Lord of all prayers, and he expressed this. These what I just said. It incorporates the idea of food being his key gift to humanity. Brahmanaspati, his key gift to humanity being food. Thereby, when we have extreme debt, or when we have a lack of food, proper food in our life, it's not necessary that just because you have the money, you have correct food. It does not mean that. It could also mean that you may not be able to receive the best nutrients from the food. There's some kind of energetic blockage. So even today, this archetype of Brahmanaspati holds true. When you pray to Ganpati, and always when you receive food, you bless the food in whatever language is easy for you, your mother tongue or whatever language is easy for you. And before consuming that food, you offer it to Ganpati. For it is his energy that has got that food all the way to you from wherever that food has come, from that farmland, straight into your mouth. And it is he who will help you with the correct absorption of food. Alright? I'm just pulling my freaking wire. Okay, let's get back to it. Now, food is produced by rain, right? And rains are brought forth, the correct amount of rain, right? We didn't have dams and all of that. Although we truly don't know the scope of technology back then, but to actually get the correct amount of rainwater is very important in the growth of crops. So that correct amount of rain was brought forth through sacrificial rites, sacrifices in the fire. Alright, and therefore we always ask Ganpati to come to the sacrificial fire. Ganpati is very much the energy of fire, especially Ucheshta Ganpati, who has Dahana Shakti, as Kritika Nakshatra has Dahana Shakti. Now, Brihaspati we've seen is the guru of all the gods. Brihaspati, the eternal teacher. That's why Ganpati can, if you don't have a guru to initiate you in tantric rites, and if you feel like you're being called to it or pulled to it, then taking Ganpati as your guru is possibly the best thing you can do. Alright, so Ganpati is the one that ensures that you get the right knowledge, you get the correct food, thereby you can sustain this body, thereby you can feel in this kind of correct food makes you release certain chemicals in the brain, serotonin. And only after that are you ready to look into deeper knowledge. For if you don't have food, how will you ever go looking for knowledge? Because your stomach is hungry. The basic needs have to be maintained. The basic needs have to be fulfilled. So this is very, very important that to get the correct situation, which is known as the Goldilocks zone, right? For instance, our solar system is in a kind of a Goldilocks zone. If the physics of it was any different, then we would not exist. Subtle differences could yield in our total destruction. So this getting the correct food, assimilating that food correctly, sustaining your body, providing energy to your body, working with that energy that comes to you through food, and then seeking knowledge. All of this falls under the jurisdiction of Ganpati, which is why he is literally the beginning and the end. So, Brahmanaspati is the lord of the troops or the Ganas, and there's also many references in the modern day Ganpati that has been taken from the celestial god Indra. Indra, and Indra rides his famous white elephant, Airavat. All right, so that's another thing. A lot of his significations have come from Indra. Now, when we talk about Brihaspati, okay, Brihaspati has all knowledge. He's a key holder to knowledge, to higher truth. Brihaspati or Jupiter is the celestial guru. He has initiated all the gods, Indra, Varuna. It's his task to impart knowledge. So that's very, very important to understand. And Indra is actually the god of winds and breezes as well. We have Vayu, a demigod of wind and all, but Indra, in many of the old hymns, he has power over wind and breezes, which is known as Marudgana. And these Marudgana are actually great friends of Indra, his companions, his friends, okay, and dear companions that too. And there are hymns which celebrate the close association of Brihaspati and Indra. So Brihaspati is not that different from Indra, except Indra has a huge ego and more Rajasic elements have been added to Indra's personality. Whereas Brihaspati is definitely more sattvic, more godly, philosophical. And Agni is also called Brihaspati or Brahmanaspati. Okay, and there are many verses there, and Agni is oftentimes regarded as Indra's half brother. And the two are celebrated together in many hymns like Krishna Yajurveda Samhita. If you read Krishna Yajurveda Samhita, you will see that in that text they are both celebrated together. You see the association, the closeness, right? Now, so we have for instance, in this Veda, the Krishna Yajurveda Samhita, there is a ritual for them together, Indra and Agni, and they are known as Indragneshti, Indragneshti, Indra, Agni, Eshti. So Indragneshti. All right. For bounty, and this ritual actually helps you to receive bountiful food and wealth. So Indra, Agni and Brihaspati, Brahmanaspati, these are similar concepts. They're not that divergent, right? So as you read all the text and you understand the closeness, the parallel between the two archetypes, and you see that this is definitely a kind of, sequel to that, right? So there were like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, like that, like upgrades, okay, point 2, point 3, point 0, 2.0, like that, okay. So all of these are actually one, inherently one being. Brahmanaspati, Brihaspati, Indra and Agni. Now, Agni is the deity of the earth, remember. And Indra is actually the deity of the mid-region, Antariksha. What we can see is space, the stratosphere as you exit Earth, that space. Indra rules that space. And terrestrial fire as we know it is Agni, terrestrial fire, the fire that we use to cook, to feel warm, all of that. And basically, Indra is the protector of all the living beings on earth, and this is mentioned in Shukla Yajurveda. So, and his three brothers, Indra's three brothers, were Bhuvapati, Bhuvanapati, and Bhupati. Okay, these are Indra's three brothers. Number 4, again, very, very important. 4 Vedas, 4 cardinal directions, 4 stages of life. So it's really, really important to understand 4s in Ganpati worship. There's no escaping that, literally. And on the 1st, that is tomorrow, is a Chaturthi. It is Nag Chaturthi. And then day after we have Nag Panchami. And again the Chaturthi will come on the 15th. And again another Chaturthi will come on the 31st. So these are the best days to do Ganpati Puja, receive initiation, get a puja done in your name and stuff like that. Just a day to engage with Ganesha. Although I tell you that any day is okay for Ganesha, okay, but Chaturthis have that special magical touch. So in Shukla Yajurveda, there's a myth that relates the 3 of the brothers, okay, Bhupati, the brothers of Indra, Bhuvanapati, Bhupati and Bhutapati. All right, so these guys, there's a myth in Shukla Yajurveda that says that frightened by Vashatkara, they hid themselves under the earth. And in grief, Agni enters the waters. So this is very scary, and the gods had to discover where he was and of course retrieve him. Without Agni, there is no fire. All right? Yeah, of course. Ganesha is also offered meat by people. So it depends on what's available for you. All right? So yes, you can. And then Agni, in fact, represents all the gods. Remember that. He's the forerunner. Agnirvai Devanam Mukhang. Agni is worshipped for food and lodging in Shukla Yajurveda, for luster and long life. Also in Shukla Yajurveda, for wealth and nourishment, for fulfillment of all desires, and for elimination of disease. Even today we do Homam. Who are we propitiating first? Agni. Ganesha, Guru Ganesha, ultimately it's leading up to Agni. All the sacrifices, all the thoughts, all the thought forms within us are carried into the Antariksha by Agni. That's why fire rituals are so powerful. Okay, it's a direct, like a hotline to God, like ring, hello. Alright, it's a direct hotline to God, fire. Always remember that. But fire can be dangerous, diabolical. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright, and And in Krishna Yajurveda, Agni is identified with Rudra, one of the forms of Shiva. We know that Shiva and Ganesha both share the same beach, Pranav. Shiva is no different from Ganesha. They are different manifestations of that same power. Okay, so like that. And Rudrova Esha Yad Agni, says the Krishna Yajurveda. Who is the lord of the Marud Ganas, even as Indra is. So Agni and Indra again are seen to be lords of the Marud Gana. Alright. And so you see the similarities that are popping up in these archetypes. Agni, Indra, Brihaspati, Brahmanaspati. It's a ton of similarities. And now Rudra. Now we've come to a new archetype like Shiva, Rudra. And in fact, Shayana explains that Rudra's lordship over troops, Gana, right? Ganapataya, refers to his being the master of the groups of animals, Pashupataye, right? And also Pashu Samuha Pavitvam Ganapatayam. So Rudra is directly in this text, Krishna Yajurveda, is directly being linked to Ganpati, Rudra, Shiva. Now, Ganpati of the classical age, right, represents a composite imagery of all the Vedic deities. Brihaspati, Brahmanaspati, Indra, Agni, Rudra. So he is a composite imagery. Like all of these significations of the Rigvedic gods have been blended to perfection in the archetype we understand as Ganpati. Alright, so this is very, very important to know that Ganpati is a composite imagery of all the Vedic deities. So propitiating Ganpati is propitiating all the Vedic deities. Brihaspati, Brahmanaspati, Indra, Agni, Rudra, all of them. Right? Now, Ganpati, like Brihaspati, he has two progenitors. Okay? Dvaiva Matura, the earth and the heavens. Both Brihaspati and Ganpati. Dvava Prithvi. Like Brihaspati and Indra, he has a huge and pervasive body. I told you gravity. Gravity holds things. Gravitational waves. What do waves look like? What does that remind you of? The belly of Ganpati is a gravitational wave. Alright, so this is very important to understand how can we learn about the archetype just from the image. Just take the image, sit down with it and let your intuition unfold. Because what it conveys to you is something rather unique. Alright. It is not something that I will think of because I have my unique set of traits, my own nature and nurture, genetics, my own cultural background. So you in your unique way will understand how that image is speaking to you, what it means to you. That's why imagery is such a vibrant tool. For instance, when you watch me on a video, watch me on a live. So you're seeing the essence of me. Everything is coming together to understand this person on your mobile. Who is this person? Of course, there's the way I talk, there's the way I dress, there's my micro expressions, there's my non-verbal communication, then there are the words that I choose. But you, in your unique understanding, will grasp something that I may not think of by myself. So with Ganpati, it's the same. The imagery is to provoke a certain thing within you, a certain, shall we say, idea, a spark of imagination goes off inside of you, and you see it in a new way, in a new light. It gets illuminated. So this is very important to work with deity and imagery. That's why, the visual cue is so important to look at something, right? Yes, exactly. And that is so unique actually. I've tried that many times, and it's pretty crazy. I keep seeing flowers and forests and butterflies, and I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how some people see like blood and death and decapitation. I don't know. But yeah, that's a rather interesting thing. Okay, so we've got Brihaspati and Agni. Ganpati was also the firstborn among gods. Alright? Brihaspati Prathama Jayamano. So Brihaspati and Agni, okay, they were both firstborns. Brihaspati as well. See, this very clearly says Brihaspati Prathama Jayamano. That means he was born first. It's okay. It could mean that you're sad about something. Any dream of the deity is super powerful. So don't feel bad if you see Shivji crying. Just do his mantra more. Maybe he's sad you're not doing his mantra or connecting with the Shiva inside. Just chant Shivoham, Shivoham, and feel the bliss. Alright? Or maybe you've deviated from your soul's purpose. Shiv is the soul, you know. Yes, I am Shiva. Shivoham. Alright, so we've got Brihaspati Prathama Jayamano. That means he was the first born. Brihaspati. Ganpati was first born. Agni was first born. Indra was first born. Now, Brihaspatir Devanam Purohita Asit. Okay, this means that he was a forerunner, priest of the gods. Right? So even today we cannot propitiate any other deity without Ganpati. So he has still retained this, Brihaspati's omnipotence over knowledge, complete control over first knowledge. Now he protects Brihaspati and Ganpati both protect the devotees from harm and bestows on them favors and treasures of all kinds, like wealth, and not just material wealth but beauty, maybe philosophical wealth, the ability to assimilate information, right? And like Brahmanaspati and Ganpati, Brihaspati was also credited with the ability to ward off obstacles. And this has also been cited in Aitreya Brahmana. Indra is described significantly as the great elephant in Rig Veda. Alright, and he's called Mahahasti. Indra has been called Mahahasti in Rig Veda. Now Mahahasti, many people have, many tantric scholars have said that Mahahasti would mean big hands. Okay, not necessarily the elephantine face. But honestly, that is not so. Many spiritual people, tantrics, they have said that it's not large hands. Hasti can be hands, but Hasti is also an elephant. Okay, now Indra is also described as holding not only a golden vajra fashioned by Twashtar Prajapati, Uranus, but also elephant goad. Hello, in every form of Ganpati we discussed, he was holding the goad and the noose. Pretty much all deities goad and the noose. So we see Indra was not only holding that Vajra, the golden Vajra, but he also had the Ankush. Alright, Ankush is very important. Now, Ganpati is known to carry not only Pasha and Ankush, also he is known to carry the Vajra as Gada. Brihaspati sometimes also carries an axe, by the way, an axe. And Ganpati, I told you in many forms. For instance, Veera Ganpati also carries an axe. I gave you Veera Ganpati Mohan Mantra, ultimate Mohan Mantra, to impress large crowds. Perfect for actors, poets, book writers who have to read out their books, you know, people, politicians, people who need to appear charismatic. So there. And Rudra is also described as bow and arrow. The mantra is Ring Viri Viri Ganapate Varavarada Sarvalokang Me Vashamanaye Swaha. So go back to the live, and if there's anybody who remembers this mantra that I taught to you guys of Veera Ganapati, then write it right there for this person to see. Alright? Okay, now back to the discussion. Agni is also described as the belly of the gods. Hello, belly of the gods. So, okay, we discussed about Rudra was also known to carry bow and arrow. Ganpati also carries bow and arrow. So, remember that. Now, Agni is described as the belly of the gods. Why? He receives all the offerings. All the offerings go Om Swaha, Swaha, all in the fire. So, who is the belly of the gods? Agni, right? So, he's the belly of the gods. Agnir Devanam Jataram Tetraya Brahmana. And everything on earth is food for Agni. Even the corpses. We Hindus, we cremate. Sarvam va idam agner annam, says Shatapatha Brahmana, that everything on earth is food for Agni. So, Agni is kind of an all-consuming entity. Agni planet Rahu, all-consuming entity, right? And he's very big-bellied. Hello, he is the belly of the gods, so big-bellied. And what is one of the names of Ganpati? Lambodharaya, big belly. Okay, so keep that in mind. Agni, belly of gods. Mahodara is also Agni's name. Mahodara, massive pot belly, corpulence. Right? And this has survived, this feature, this particular symbol of Agni has survived even till now. Because Ganpati is Lambodharaya, big-bellied, corpulent. Because he receives, he's the belly of the deities. All offerings must go through him, the belly of the deities. Alright? Now, Agni was prescribed to be worshipped before all the other gods. Keep that in mind as well. And only then, only if you worship Agni before the other gods, then only would they be propitiated. So this is again a direct adaptation of the present times when we worship Ganpati. He must be the first god to be worshipped. Okay, and his worship should precede all rituals. And of course, then once we hear this and we know the background of Agni, we immediately connect Ganesha to Agni. Agni being the belly of the gods, Agni being the first to be propitiated. This is very, very important to remember. And of course, I told you that Agni and Ganpati and Brihaspati have two mothers, Dvi Mata. Now, now the two mothers of Agni are two Arani sticks. And according to Skanda Swamin, represents heaven and earth, the two sticks. And Ganpati is Dvaiva Mata. I told you, Dvaiva Matura. Because he was brought up as a child by Durga and Chamunda. Ganadhipa Durga Chamundabhyam Palit Tatvat. Palit Tatvat. That means Durga and Chamunda grew Ganesha up when he was a child, looked after him. They were his mothers, two mothers. Agni had two mothers, two sticks, heaven and earth. Ganesha had two mothers, Durga and Chamunda. Okay, remember that. Now, so we see that Ganesha's body complexion is tawny red or kapila or smoky grey, dhumra varna. And this reminds us, of course, about Agni. Because when Agni is, burning, then he is tawny red. And when Agni has already burnt and it is the dhuni, then the dhuni becomes smoky grey, dhumra varna, which is the color of Uchishta Ganapati, the remainder. It reminds me of the story between Lalita Tripura Sundari. For Durga is none other than Lalita Tripura Sundari. That Lalita Tripura Sundari is Mahapralaya Sakshini. When Shiva dances the dance of destruction, the tandav of destruction, annihilation, it is then that Lalita Tripura Sundari sees or witnesses Mahapralaya, Mahapralaya Sakshini. Then Shiva takes the ashes of the previous Manvantara, previous creation, cycle of creation, and rubs them all over his body, just like we do with bhasma. Yes, blue is another variation, but tawny red and dhumra varna. So yeah, in a sense, blue. Blue being again Vishuddhi Chakra. Okay? So colors have to be immediately assigned to their chakras to understand the functionality of why that deity has that particular color. Of course, chakra is one side of it, but many things are revealed to us by color. What were the ancients trying to tell us? What is behind the symbolism? Colors reveal a lot. Alright? So we've seen that the rat in Ganpati, rat being Ganpati's transportation. There's also a detail associated with Agni and with Rudra, who's a variant form of Agni. Agni and Rudra have a lot of similarities. I think I mentioned that while I was doing the Ardra video. Rudra is the ruler of Ardra. And it is said in Taitra Brahmana that, let's get to the rat, that Agni assumes the form of a rat and he hid himself under the earth. Okay, in Taittiriya Brahmana it is said that Agni became a rat and he decided to hide, right? And we read in the early Brahmana texts like Taittiriya and Shatapatha Brahmana that there's a magical rite known as Trayambaka Homa. Trayambaka Homa. And a rat is described in Trayambaka Homa in the earlier Brahmana text, Shatapatha Brahmana and Taittiriya Brahmana. It is said that Rudra himself had a rat. Okay? Trayambaka Homa. And we see this in Mahamrityunjaya Jap. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam purvaritomi bhavandanar mrityor mokshiyam amritatva. Alright. So this Trayambaka Homa, a rat is described as Rudra's vehicle. Okay. Akush te Rudra pashus tam jushasva. Okay, this means for Rudra, he had a rat as his transportation device. Now, having 3 eyes, Rudra was 3 eyes, Trayambaka. This is a detail shared not only by Agni, it's also shared by Ganpati. Ganpati is also 3-eyed, Trilochana. So we see that basically in the orthodox worship of Ganpati, Rigvedic hymns that are addressed to Brahmanaspati or Brihaspati and Indra is invariably employed to propitiate Ganesha in classical worship. Vedachara, Dakshinachara. And this collection is now known as Brahmanaspati Shukta. Brahmanaspati Shukta, okay? And they consist of 62 hymns. And 44 of them are from Krit Samada. I told you Krit Samada from the lineage of Bhrigu. And the tons, all these shlokas and all I'll discuss, but let's just set the framework, the background. Many shlokas, Sanskrit texts I will read for you. Now, there is a worship, okay, that involves the ritual placement of the 6 limbs. Shadanga Nyas. And the mantra Gananam Twa. After customary sipping of water, which is Achaman, and regulation of breath, right? So Gananam Twa Ganapating Havamahe Angushtabhyam Namaha, like that. Understand? So again, Kalana Nyasa is a part of the workshop that I teach. When you have to activate all your fingers. So Angushtabhyam, Tarjanibhyam, Madhyamabhyam, Anamikabhyam and Kanishtakabhyam. And of course the 2 palms, Karatalakara, Prishtabhyam. So all of that I teach in the workshop. If you want to know more how to correctly worship Ganpati through Shadanga Nyas, then drop me an email. The mantra is Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavida Upama Shavastamam. So that mantra. And of course there is pranayama that needs to be done with Achaman. Achaman and pranayam go together. Achaman and then comes Sankalpa. First you start of anything with Gurur mantra. Don't have a guru, cool. Think of Ganapati as your guru. So you can do Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Reva Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Okay? And then you do a Ganesha mantra before any invocation or anything, and then you do Achaman. So these are the steps that are taught correctly in the workshop. So drop me an email for the people interested to learn how to do it correctly, how to do Rishadi Nyasa, how to do finger Nyasas, how to do body Nyasas, Anga Nyasas, body Nyasa. So how to do all of that, okay? Because if done correctly, the benefits are tremendous. So basically the verses of Brahmanaspati Shukta are recited 21 times and it's again repeated 21 times. So it constitutes one mandala. Repetition is for 41 times. Okay, and if each of the mandala is repeated 21 times, we have Mahamandala, which is 9261 times. So then we've seen, now we had 45 minutes, so we will have 15 more minutes before I end this live. So Brahmanaspati or Brihaspati is very formidable to the foes. Brahmanaspati, Brihaspati, Ganpati. Okay, Bhimam and vanquisher of the enemies. Amitra Dangbhanam. Okay, destroying the enemies. He leads the folk around the right path and protects them. Protection. Sunniti bhi nayasi trayase janam. Sugopa rakshasi. Okay, he guards us by making us go on a wholesome road. Okay, even the obstacles he puts before us is because we have deviated from our soul's purpose. That's why. All these obstacles, obstructions, that's why. Okay, they've been put there. Now, so we also by his, he protects us from persons and saves us from perils. Yeah, I will read the Kavach at some point for sure. Just go to Rudrayamala Tantra. The one that is available is from Rudrayamala Tantra. Uchcheshta Ganapati Kavach from Rudrayamala Tantra. That is the correct version. So he protects people. Hello, he protects people. And he saves us from all kinds of perils in life. Very hard obstacles. Trataram tva tanunam havamahe avaspartah. By his grace we also obtain excellent food. I discuss food. Tvaya vayam uttamam. He abides with us and fulfills all our desires. Paprina sasnina yuja. He prevents the wicked folk from deceiving us or controlling us. Mano dushamso abhidhapsur ishata. Okay, and the Shukta of Krit Samata from Bhrigu lineage also mentions that Ganpati is associated with the religious observance of Vrata, now commonly found in the worship of Ganpati, Chaturthi Vrat. Tava Vrataya Mahibhir Jaramahe. We adore you with praises in connection with your worship. So this expression Vrata derives from the root vring. Varane, to choose, to cover, is explained in Yashka Nirutka 2 and 13 as a ritual act involving abnegations and sacrifices. It attaches itself to the person who performs the actions. The benefits of this vrata are known as, they famously include the preservation of the body by eating the correct food which pervades the body. Okay, so Ganesh Chaturthi Vrata, fourth day of the bright half of Bhadrapada, Sankashti Ahara Vrata, fourth day of dark half of Magha Nakshatra, Ganesh Parthiva Vrata for a month commencing from the fourth day of the bright moon of Shravan. Of course, somebody was actually calling me, can you believe that? So all these vrata, Durga Ganapati Vrata, for a month beginning with the fourth day of the bright half of Bhadrapada. Worshipping with 21 Durba blades of grass. Durba grass, very essential in the worship of Ganpati. If you don't have anything, only water will do. But if you have Durba grass and water, and for Uchishta Ganapati, honey and rose water, pretty much you're done. Okay, and 21 prostrations, 21 sweet cakes of modakas. And on Varata Chaturthi Vrata, this you can do, which is the fourth day of the bright half of Shravana. So 21 again. Keep in mind 21 prostrations, 21 modaks, 21 offerings you have to give. Alright, so this is kind of important. Now, you have to worship Ganpati if you want to be free from indebtedness of any kind, so as to not be indebted to anyone, not materially, not spiritually, none of that. Because he, Ganesha, is the acquitter of all debt, which is of sinful nature. Okay? Sayana, Rinaha, Papa, Rupasya, Rinasya, Yavaita, Prithak Karta, the destroyer of all oppressors. Druha, Karmano, Drogdur, Asya Hanta Bhavati. Okay, there is a form of Ganesha which is mentioned in Krishna Yamala known as Rinaharta or Rinamochana Ganpati. I discussed Rinamochana Ganpati yesterday, so watch that video. And if you worship Rinamochana Ganpati, then you will forever be free of indebtedness. You will be free of all debt. This is a very, popular ritual that is done, Rinmochana Ganpati ritual. So I guess I'm going to give you an overall understanding of Ganesha now before I head out. This video has covered a lot. It has explained to you how Ganesha has come about as an amalgamation, as a congregation, as a composite imagery of Brahmanaspati, Brihaspati, Indra, Agni, Rudra. So Ganapati is actually one god that is the amalgamation of the 5 great gods of the Vedas. Brahmanaspati, Brihaspati, Indra, Agni, Rudra. That is why he is the belly of the gods, for he receives all the offering. He is of the nature of fire, Agni. He is the celestial ruler of all the troops as Indra. He is the very much the sacrificial fire that for Ganapati Homams and Ganapati Tarpans. He is particularly fond of Tarpans, libations. And Tarpans, if done correctly, 444 Tarpans are done. And you can do it with the mantra, the mool mantra, Om Shreem Reem Kleem Glam Gangadapate Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashmanaye Swaha. You can do it with that. You can even do it with, say, Uchishta Gadapati Mula Mantra, Hasti Pisashi Like Swaha. So, Tarpanas are very, very powerful. Any kind of obstacles in your path, learning to do tarpana, getting a tarpana done for yourself is indeed a true blessing. And of course, Ganpati Homam. And I teach the process of Homam simplified. So you in your house with just a small Havan Kund can perform a Ganpati Homam. So if you have the wherewithal, drop me an email, one workshop, and you will know how to do Homam in your house. And if you can manage to do Homam during August and during the Ganesh Chaturthi festival, then I promise you, you will see a huge blessing. Whatever it is that you need will come to you like magic. Relationships, marriages that are, difficult, children, them getting wayward, physical disease, inability to eat the correct things, to stick to a correct healthy diet and lifestyle. So I end with this, and again I will be back, and all blessings from Ganpati for this massive event that's coming up tomorrow. So enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Yeah, you can chant anything. Ganpati has so many things to chant. Learn a kavach. Find a form of Ganpati that you really identify with. I suggest Ucheshta Ganpati. Read his kavach, if possible, every Chaturthi in the night. Or read Ucheshta Ganpati kavach any day, Tuesdays, Thursdays in the night. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Please consider joining memberships. Drop me an email if you want to know more about the workshops and about all things coming up in my channel. If you want to book an astrological reading, if you want energetic clearance, all kinds of work that I do, spiritual, mystical work, contact me and let me know today how you guys feel. Share this video with your friends so they can also know about Ganesha. And who is Ganesha? Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that people are finally responding. I've been on this platform making videos now. I don't even know how long, and not just like a video, making like tons of videos. And finally I can see that some people, albeit a small amount, but some people are now finally noticing the work that is being done. And that is all because the journey of 1,000 miles must start with the first few steps. So it is inevitable in my journey to go through whatever it is that I'm going through, and to take it slow and to walk slow, and in the right time, the people who need to hear it will hear it. And if you have heard it and you have liked and appreciated my channel, then consider becoming a member. It's really cheap, and not that I'm making any other videos for members. The point of membership is that you support me if you have resources, so other people can also get this content for free. So other people who don't have the resources can also get a hold of this content, can learn, can study, can indulge in Brahmagyan, Tattvamasi, that thou art. So take care. Thank you so much for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and see you. Bye-bye. Thank you.